How's it going, everybody? I am the Dragon, as always, and today I think I'm going to show you a little bit of the behind-the-scenes here. I recently did a thing, an episode of Don't Starve, Shipwrecked, and I really liked the way the title screen animated, so I wanted to incorporate that into my title card. So here's a little tutorial, I suppose. Even though I have no idea what I'm doing, I kind of stumbled through it myself, on how to get that done on your own for an aspiring Let's Player or what have you, just to give your intro a little bit more flash. So here I am in Adobe Premiere CS6. It's old, but it'll get the job done. And you can see what I'm talking about here, where in my title card, what I did was I took the animation from the main menu of Don't Starve Shipwrecked, and
I've been steampunked. Oh, right in the wallet.
Made it animate there, so it looks all, neat and cool in the intro of my video. So here I have the raw video of that gameplay, and I can hop to the end where I know that I sat in the menu for a while, which is probably after this. And yeah, so now this will pop to the menu. Once it loads, doopy 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 doo. Wow, it took a while to load that menu. Like a long while. So the way that I'm going to go about doing this is probably a bit of a roundabout way, but it's the way that I ended up doing it. So I'll set, first off, I'm going to right click on my source video and do a new sequence from clip. And that gives me this new sequence. Now I'm not actually going to use that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an in point and let that play for a little bit, as long as I have one full loop with the fish. I wanted to make sure that I got the fish, from beginning to end, fish to fish. Alright, so we set an out point. That's roughly the same. We only need the video, so we're going to drag that video, because I have my own intro music, of course. So I can right click on this and replace with After Effects composition. Now, obviously, this is kind of a roundabout way of doing this. I could have just opened the game video in After Effects, but from my experience, After Effects does not have a good tool set for cutting video. It's more, for effects and things like that. Rely on Premiere for your cutting. Make sure that you get, the good portion, of the video, instead of dragging through, to the end of 2-hour-long video. So this will load up After Effects, and it will already have our sequence in it. So let's see. There we go. All right. Yeah, I don't really care what we call it. Let's just call it BTS tutorial. Save, and it opens. So it's automatically going to put our clip selection in the timeline here. So the way that I did this was using Chroma keys. And if you stream or anything like that, you may be familiar with Chroma keys. It's something that you can do in OBS and most streaming software. And Chroma keying is essentially picking a color palette and or a flat color and making it transparent. So what I decided to do was go to, I saved a blank intro card facing the direction that I wanted. And I'm going to pop into my pictures and see. I'm pretty sure it's in here. Oh, wait, no, I saved it to my steampunked source files. So in here, I have logo right blank. I'm going to drag that over here. and we're going to put this at the bottom. We'll know that this is working once we can see that. So here I have my video, and I can hit, space, and it'll give me an audioless, kind of playthrough of it. And we know that the space that we want. So like this starts, it looks like, it starts right at the fish. So we're gonna kind of skip through this, and I'm gonna zoom in for more fine-tuned frame by frame. You can do that as a shortcut by holding down Alt and using your scroll wheel. And I'll skip until we see the last of the splashes disappear. So it looks like still one left, and it's gone. Oh wait, no, there's one more, and then it's gone. So this is the start of our loop. And we can just see, as far as I know, there's like no cutting tools. Like I said, I'm no expert. This is just how I did it. I don't think there are any cutting tools or anything, but we can just drag that to the marker. And then we're going to go up to that point so it loops perfectly. So we can just drag this across, and it'll do its little dealy jobber, its animation, whatnot. And there's the fish, and wait until all of the things disappear, and that's the end of our loop. So I can drag that to fit that space. And obviously we'll want to do the same with our backdrop. So now we know that it's this. I'm going to drag this back to the beginning of our sequence. And once we get to this, we want to know exactly how long it is. So it is 5 seconds and 5 milliseconds. So I am going to go to my composition settings and change that to be exactly that long. So we can go 5, and now we have a perfect loop. So if we start at the beginning, let's make sure we're zoomed out here. Start at the beginning of the sequence and hit space. We should have a perfect loop. And it looks like we do. So now the important bit. I ended up stacking chroma keys on this, and we can go to our effects controls over here. And honestly, this is super simple. So we can do a color key and just drop it on there, and it shows up here on the effects controls. Now it's got a key color, color tolerance, things like that. We can go to key color and just hit the eyedropper and pick a color in here. Now you'll see it's kind of spotty, not really working. That's where your color tolerance comes in. So we can kind of get that bleed out a little bit. Now you don't want to go too far because you see it gets way too tolerant. So we're going to just kind of go until it starts losing a little bit of detail, just a touch. So we can zoom in on that a little bit, and you can see that there's still some spots that are not all that great. And we still have all of these menu items. So the way that I dealt with that, first off, maybe let's pick like that color. No, that doesn't really work very well. Yeah, let's just go with that. Whoa. How about that? I think I messed it up. No, actually, that looks much more crisp and a bit better. So we can go with that. And let's see here. So let's see. What I ended up doing was I dropped another chroma key on it to take care of other colors. I don't know why hitting Alt is doing weird. Oh, hitting Alt is picking whatever color I happen to be over. I didn't know that that was a shortcut. Apparently it is. So let's pick something like that. And basically you want to get as much of this taken care of as possible. at least in the area around, you don't want to lose too much definition. So at least in the area around the bit that you're wanting to isolate. So welcome to Paradise. That is still a little speckly, and it's still a little speckly around here, but honestly, a lot of that is not very noticeable. So next, what I'm going to do in order to isolate this element is I'm grabbing the pen tool. And with the pen tool, we can start drawing a rough outline around the element that we want to isolate. So we can go up here over the flag. And you really can't have too many pen points. Now this I'm going to end up having to adjust because there are different parts of the animation that are going to hit, that are going to hit different, stages. So let's finish this, get this around here, and kind of hug that line. And there, we've completed it. Now you see it's looking a little bit more sane. Let's go back to our pointer tool and we can actually drag this around just fine. Now let's run that animation and see what corners of that we need to adjust. So it looks like one of the fish is getting cut off. So we can move that out a little bit. And that looks good. Looks like maybe the top of the flag might be brushing that a little bit. So let's bring that up a touch. Just a touch. Oh, and looks like the tail of the flag. Let's bring that up just a little bit. Don't want to expose too many pixels. Yeah, there we go. Now we got the little flick in the flag. Looks like we've got things moving here. And everything looks pretty good. So, now I can move this to where I want it. I want it, big, and I don't really care if it obscures my plays thing. And I can resize it so it'll, be nice and presentable and focused and centered. I'm not too worried about it obscuring my logos and things like that. The focus is on the game, and I want it to look cool above all else. So now if I run that animation, I'd say that looks pretty cool. Other things that you can do, you can use things like edge thin and edge feather, with which, can do things like that. It's just another way to kind of fine tune. I don't really find that terribly necessary. We can do edge feather a bit, which gives it kind of a blur effect on the edges of the elements that remain. And that can be handy in obscuring certain things, but it also gives us these lines, because there are these lines that are kind of left that otherwise you don't really see. So if I set this back to 0, those disappear. And there we go. We've got a nice little animation. And it looks pretty damn cool. So I think I came up with this idea after I recorded my Don't Starve sessions, and I think I'm going to be applying this to pretty much any game that has some sort of animation to their main menu or anything like that, just to give my videos a bit more, I personally think it looked super cool, and you can use this on anything. Like chroma keying is a really, really handy, useful tool in video editing. And then, of course, if you want to save, I just exported this. Honestly, you can just save it and then hop over to Premiere. So like if I save this and then hop over to Premiere, it is a linked project. So it works over here, and you can just render it in place. You can put this wherever you need it. Of course, it is the length of the original cut. It's not the adjusted length. So here you can see that it's been updated with the blurred out where it ends up, going out and stuff like that. So you can either have that linked in here Or if you're like me and you plan on reusing that animation a number of times, what I actually ended up doing was going ahead and adding it to the render queue and setting the output to H.264. And we don't need audio, and it takes no time at all to render. Since it's such a short thing, I think it took probably 5 seconds or less to render that. And the final product, as I showed you before, goes like this.
I've been steampunked. Oh, right in the wallet.
Welcome back to Steampunked. So it looks pretty cool. Hopefully you found this tutorial useful. If you want me to do more tutorials, leave a like and a comment and let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.